I love trees, and I love planting trees too. I mean, think about all the things that trees can do for us. You have shade, you have erosion control, you have the other end of the hammock hanging from one, you got a tire swing hanging out of one. You got a home for the birds and the squirrels, you got the crack of the bat, cigar store Indians, apples, peaches, pears, plums, and nuts. Don't forget bananas. They all come from trees. Trees are great things, and I love to plant them. Today, I'd like to show you how to plant a tree. Before you do that, before you even think about putting in the tree, do a little research. Not every tree grows in every location. Not every tree has the same characteristics. What we want here is a tall growing, blooming tree with good fall color visible from the deck. We also have to have a tree that'll thrive in this soil. And unfortunately, this soil is bone hard, heavy clay, which means that we have to amend the soil. But it also means we have to select a tree that'll live in clay. And I have. This one will do it. This is an improved variety of calorie pear called Cleveland Select. Now, they used to say when you dug a hole that you dug it just a few inches in diameter, bigger than the ball. Now the recommendations are to dig a wide, shallow hole that's just deep enough to accommodate the ball, but 3 to 4 times greater in diameter. That's a big hole. Also, before you dig, call all the people, the telephone company, the gas company, the electric people, and have them locate any buried lines in your lawn. And here's another tip. The tendency when you dig a hole with a round pointed shovel like that one is to have a smooth, slick-sided hole like this. That's not good for tree roots. Sometimes they'll come out of the root ball, hit this smooth, slick surface, and start going in a circle. What we want them to do is penetrate the soil. And you can help them do that by taking your spade and chopping up the side of your planting hole. And when a root gets into one of these places, it'll continue to grow into the clay rather than start encircling the hole. Now, even though I've selected a calorie pear that'll thrive in heavy clay, I'm still going to amend the backfill soil with some premium organic matter. And the reason for that is that every plant deserves a good start. We'll mix this thoroughly in to improve that soil and increase the organic matter content. Now, about the tree. You can buy a tree in a container, you can buy a tree bare root, or you can buy a tree balled and burlapped. That's where they've dug it up and wrapped it in burlap. The planting method is about the same for all of those, except that with a plantable container, you know, some of those fibrous pots that grow plants in now, with some of those, I like to take the pot off just as if it were plastic. And here's the most important tip. This tree needs your help in getting its roots from this potting soil into the surrounding soil. The way I like to do it is with a hard jet of water. Once we've exposed some of these roots, when we backfill with our amended soil, these roots will already be across the soil interface and into the surrounding soil. Once we've worked all of that good organic matter into our backfill soil, we start putting it into the hole. And I always like to stop about halfway and water it in. It floats air pockets out of the soil. So we don't want any air bubbles in there. Oh, and one more thing. When you're planting a tree, make sure that when you're done planting it, it's at exactly the same height in the ground that it was either grown in the nursery or when it was growing in the pot. Never bury it too deep. Once we have the hole filled in and a levee built around it to retain moisture, we need to stake the tree. I've taken an ordinary piece of plastic tubing. You can use garden hose, you use anything that won't damage the bark, but protect the bark from the string or guy wire that you use to hold the tree steady. Staking a tree is incredibly important for the first 6 months. And the reason it is is because when the wind blows, we don't mind if the top blows around. We just don't want the ball of earth moving in the soil and tearing young roots. So we stake it tightly for approximately the first 6 months. Now, I've cut my own stakes, and I use my pruning shears to notch the top of the stake so that when I tie the wire to it, it doesn't slip loose. And then we want to drive the stake in such a way that it leans toward the tree. I know you'd think the opposite would be the right thing, but doing it this way gives me an advantage that the other way doesn't afford me. And it is this: when I tie on my wire rather loosely, I can tighten up the tree and actually cause it to lean in whatever direction I want by driving the stake just a little tighter. When all 3 wires are taut, I'm ready to apply my mulch. And of course, we want to cover the entire planting hole with a 3 to 4 inch deep layer of good mulch. But remember, nothing but air ever touches the trunk, so keep your mulch pulled away from it. And then when we've got it mulched, we'll water it. And here's a great way to do that. Loosen the hose so it's trickling, and let it lay there all night long and really soak this tree in.